Hi, I'm Chris Kenton, and this week we're going out on a whim with Rene Bonvanie, CMO of Serena Software. Serena's been around 25 years, but they're gaining a lot of attention today for a very new market approach. Serena enables almost anyone to create their own business applications as mashups. Want to combine your customer records with Facebook or LinkedIn profiles? You can do it with a mashup, with no need for IT development. And Serena's spreading the word with her own brand of social media marketing. The guy behind Serena's new marketing isn't some south of market hipster. Rene's been around the block as a senior executive for SAP, Business Objects, and Salesforce.com, and he's embracing the power of social media to disrupt the status quo. So let's find out what Rene can tell us about what's happening in marketing.
People don't listen necessarily to marketers. They listen to the market. They listen to their peers. You have to embrace this idea that, first of all, your story is best told by someone else than you. And second, that the story needs to be re-emphasized in a way that motivates people to then engage with you. More than ever, people rely on other people for the truth. So if I can get employees to re-emphasize the message to each other and to customers, if I can get customers to re-emphasize the message back to our own employees and to their peers, then I win. Now that is, from a marketing perspective, a very scary thought, because you're no longer in control. It feels like you're relying on things that you can't control, and yet it is, in my opinion, the only way moving forward. So hence our engagements in things like Facebook, in YouTube, in social media in general, because I believe that a story needs to be told, right, from the perspective of truth and believability, and the best way to do that is through people. We're trying lots of new tools. We were trying Facebook, we're trying HiveLive, we're trying YouTube. It is not so much about the what exactly is it that we do, but why is it? And how are we going to get there? Because most people will argue, of course you want to grow your revenue, and of course you want to get more customers, and of course you want to have them happy, but how? Every company does white papers. Boring, right? Every company does webinars, boring. And so, but yet they all do it. Why? Because we're lazy. Web 2.0 didn't make my job harder, right? Even though the control issue seems to be a big issue for some people, it made my job easier, because now I can experiment. I can do it using ways that people like. People like going to YouTube, people like being on Facebook, people like doing things in communities. So all of a sudden, right, this animosity towards marketing things, right, reading ads and getting emails and attending webinars, I don't have to deal with it anymore. It'll take me hours on YouTube to see whether my idea was a great idea or just a stupid idea, and I can pull it back. And I haven't spent a fortune on anything doing it. Right? So rather than building this huge thing and then hoping it launches, right? So building the ad, spending millions of dollars on your ad agency, coming up with a cute message, right? Spending hundreds of thousands of dollars getting into the Wall Street Journal, and then praying that something will happen, right? Building a very complicated webinar series, right, with lots of external speakers and who knows who and whatever, and trying to get people in only to see that only 5 guys show up, right? That's a thing of the past. I mean, be agile and try and try and try and try. And it's okay to fail sometimes, because it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg to fail. Most companies have the philosophy that your information is yours and you trickle to your customers. Right? We took a very different approach. We said all the information is our customers' information, but we hold back maybe a few percent, right? Because that really doesn't concern the customers, right? Our financials, right? Our operational plans, but everything else. So if you start with that philosophy that everything you do is in fact customer facing, right, then all of a sudden you can start to see how your intranet, for example, changes, and that why it is not an issue to put it on Facebook, because it was fundamentally built with the assumption that everything you do is something that benefits the customer. We as a company have heavily engaged in SaaS. Other than our ERP system, pretty much everything else that we do in the company now runs in SaaS. So we don't care about infrastructure, right? It is relevant, but somewhat irrelevant, right? We care about the information that flows through these systems, and IT departments have to change that way as well, right? Because they have to care about the information that they can make available and keep up to the latest quality levels and so forth. So I do believe that the marketing IT relationship is tough, but at the same time, the same things that keep the marketing guys honest are things that should keep IT honest, and vice versa. So my advice to CMOs these days is that whether you like it or not, you have to be disruptive. If you go with the flow, if you go with whatever your CEO comes up with, right, you're never going to be as good as your CEO at these things, and you're never going to be as disruptive as your CEO at these things. So you have to run your own agenda of disruption. So one of the things that I would advise them is always have in your back pocket at least 7 disruptions that you can apply to the business. And not just marketing execution disruptions, but bigger disruptions. My second piece of advice is you need something that keeps you honest. Because marketing itself is a tough thing. Like I said, it's hard to instrument, it's hard to measure, right, very exactly. Most people in the company, when they go to the executive staff, they will have their numbers, right? The finance guy has the P&L, and the sales guy has the forecast, and the support guy has the issue list, and the developer guy has the burn down chart, and you name it. And what does the marketing guy have? Oh, a pretty ad, right, in a magazine. So you need something that keeps you honest. Find one of those things where you have direct correlation between what you do and what you control and how it impacts the company. It doesn't necessarily have to be focused on leads or something else, but find something that you uniquely represent in the company and that you can measure on a consistent basis and can show progress on. And then for the even more progressive CMO, I would say, try to get the responsibility of, in the case of an acquisition or an expansion, run a business unit alongside your CMO job. Most marketers I know have actually never sold. They've never had a P&L responsibility. And I don't think they actually ever speak that much with customers. So try to get even a small business unit, some business initiative. Try to own that. I mean, your CEO will love you for it because you will have disruptive ideas how to run it, but it also keeps you very honest in doing your job going forward.